the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice.
As a foot care nurse, you might want to look into the podiatry industry, because I've been out here since 2011 and I have hundreds of stories I could tell you about how the senior demographic has been taken advantage of by the podiatry industry. Not all podiatrists are evil. I've met a few that are decent and lovely and nice, but goodness, those are hard to come by and hard to find. I have heard so many stories. In fact, I'll tell you a story. Here's a story. Here's the tea on one of the stories. I had a patient whose son contacted me for some foot care services. She was living at a senior living facility. So he said, would you mind coming and, doing some foot care for my mother, blah, blah. I said, sure. She had a history of dementia, and he said, I'll be over there the day that, we scheduled the appointment and such. I said, great. So we're there, and I'm setting everything up. And he said, hey, before you get started, he goes, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah. He said, could you look at her feet and tell me when you think the last time her nails were done? And I said, oh, okay. And I looked at him, and it had been obviously a long time. And he said, when do you think they were last trimmed? And I said, oh gosh, it's probably been like 4 to 6 months. And he goes, huh, really? And I said, yeah, why? And he goes, because every month I receive a bill from the podiatrist that comes to the senior living facility, and he invoices me for foot care services on her, and I've been paying it. That's what goes on out here. That's just one story. So if you have a loved one that's in a facility and you think somebody's providing foot care services to them, please take a look at their feet and see if it truly is happening, because the amount of fraudulent activity that takes place against seniors, especially seniors with dementia or Alzheimer's or any type of memory care facilities, please look at their feet and see if somebody's actually caring for them, because the fraud is prevalent out here. And as a foot care nurse, this is just one story out of hundreds that I have heard. As a foot care nurse that has launched other nurses across the nation, we all have stories like this that we could share with you. So this is an industry that is dying on the vine, because not a lot of people are going to podiatry school at this point, because now we have orthopedic foot and ankle surgeons that's kind of pushed the podiatry industry out. And then we also have a lot of schools dying because they're not as prevalent anymore. So enrollment is low. They are not getting the reimbursement rates like they used to. They are cutting corners. They are billing fraudulently for services that they never provided. They're double dipping, and they're taking advantage of our seniors. And I am so happy that this is all starting to come to light, because I have been out here since 2011 talking about it, and people thought I was crazy. And now here we are. Be careful who you elect as your foot care provider.